I mean, it's tough. Like I was saying before the game, it's not the same team that we played against, and they're a good team. They have great players, and for us to be able to get key stops when we needed them, it just shows what we have in our locker room, and I just appreciate coaching them. And this was a tough one. You hate to. I don't like being in these type of games because somebody has to lose, and you just but feels good to win it though. Feels good to win.
Speak to the leadership on the bench, and then also defensively. How are you feeling with this team being this far into the season, a third of the way through?
I mean, it was tough. I think defensively, I think we're making strides. And it's hard to stop players in this league. And so for us to get key stops when they counted, and to get key rebounds, and I thought it was good on our part. And it's some stuff you always can do better, but for us to make the stops when it counted, 2 nights in a row, it says a lot about our character as a ball club defensively.
Coach, Deshaun Jones from MV Online. Congratulations on your win. Before the game started, we had a chance to talk to the Liberty's head coach, and one thing she pointed out was your size. When the game started, it seemed like they shrunk your size by stretching you guys out and shooting the ball well. What adjustments did you make as a coach and tell your players to adjust to the way they were shooting the ball so you guys can hang around and pull out the victory?
I think the main thing is that we wanted to stay 5-on-5, but they got to a point where they were confident, and so once you see a couple go in, then the basket just is big. They had players who uncharacteristically were making threes, and normally those were supposed to be short closeouts, but then you have to close out long to everyone, and it just makes it that's what stretches you out when the players that don't traditionally make threes start making them, and it makes you more of a reactive team. And I think that put us on our heels for a couple of quarters till we were able to get back in it and just really sit down on defense, buckle down, and it's just a consistent effort from the group that was out there to make sure that they were in the stands, and they weren't sinking us in too much, and we were able to get to that 3-point shooters a little bit faster.
Hey Coach, Azar Johnson from NBA Online. It seemed like in the third quarter, Parker, Vanderson, and Quigley weren't really playing, and then it seemed like the Liberty were building the lead going into the fourth, and then you guys, and you put them back in, and the game ended the way it did. Was that the plan all along? It just seemed like you guys kept the calm even when the lead was, you're down by 6, which is not a lot, but you kept the calm and you had a game plan, and it seemed like it worked before.
I mean, the thing is that we have a lot of trust and confidence in our bench, and the one thing that the bench they do is they actually, give our starters enough time to rest and kind of so they can make that final push. I think that's really important when you have players on the other team that they probably don't have a long bench like we have, and so we're able to continue to push, and then by the time it gets to the fourth quarter, in the third quarter, they're watching and seeing different points of attack, and they're, and so when they get in, they're ready and they're connected, and we're able to do things, I guess, from a rested standpoint as opposed to doing it from a fatigue standpoint. So I think it helped us out. I think we had legs in the fourth quarter, and our bench is pretty much responsible for that.
Coach Owen Pence with Winsider. I have 2 for you. Firstly, obviously you'd rather win games by 30 points than by a possession, but it seems like there have been a lot of tight
Just want
ones.
to win, man.
Just want to win.
Yeah, Vegas can't be choosy, bro.
All right, I hear you. What do you attribute this team's stellar crunch time play to?
Experience. I think winning a championship and going through so many games where we're battle tested, it counts for a lot in everything you do, in the job market and games and entertainment, experience in medical field. Experience counts for a lot, and I think we take a lot from being battle tested, and it's not so nerve-wracking for us. I talked to some people out there, and it was like my heart was jumping. We were so anxious, but I can tell you who wasn't. Our team wasn't, and I know it's early in the season, but we've been in these type of games even in the playoffs. Won some, and we lost some, but we try to take each loss as a lesson. And so when we get in these type of moments, we're calm and we're connected and we're ready.
And then secondly, what do you see down the stretch to go with Z over Candace? What do you see down the stretch to go with Azure over Candace?
It's just length, and like we leaned on Candace a lot during this road trip. Leaned on her a little bit more in Washington than I wanted to, and so I just felt that just that's why you have a player like Z that you can lean on when you feel like this is probably a better matchup, or Candace we may want to save Candace's legs a little bit. So it was just that, and those things happen. I did it a lot with Sloot in years past, and I've done it with Allie where we had other players finishing games and she didn't. And you saw I did it the other night with Rebecca over Allie, and that's why we're a team, and they're all bought in. Nobody was happier than Candace, and so she was able to finish the last possession, and she was the one that made the assist, and that's what you talk about being ready. She made the assist to Sloot, and it's just important that we're all for each other, and we know, like, I'm not going to always get it right, but if I don't, they still have my back, and it's really cool to coach these players.
Thank you so much.
Moving to Zoom, we'll start with Annie.
Hey James, I'm curious how much last year's experience in close games where there were certain games where things maybe got away from the team a little bit, and this year these losses, and obviously today was a win, they're by such small margins, and I wonder how much last year's experience is even carrying over into this year's team's part in terms of never letting a game get too far out of reach.
It's just a process for us, because I think that, of course, the experience always helps, and we never feel like we're out of a game. Like we've been fortunate enough to not be out of any game this year, and to make it a game. And so we know we have confidence in each other that, hey, look, we can, if we buckle down and do what we're supposed to be doing, that we can get back in games and give ourselves an opportunity to win it. And so we've seen enough of that over the last 2 years that we've had pretty much this core together. And then it goes back to 2019 when we were winning close games as well. But definitely need our entire crew because it's tough to win games. We were losing these close games last year when Candace and Allie and Steph were out. And once they came back, it just changed the dynamic of our team. And now we feel like this core can do the same thing. And when you have like your starting five that's back, plus you add Emma and Rebecca and Dana's growth and Ruthie's growth and Lee, I think it helps us out. And Julie, I think it helps us out a lot.
And then one more, you spoke to it a little bit in terms of the team not being anxious in late game moments, but how important is a win like this in terms of developing that muscle memory of how to get a win like this for other games down the road, late in the season?
I think it's always important because when you win games like this, you don't really feel great, and you know that, you feel good, I ain't gonna lie, like I'm gonna drink a Kool-Aid tonight, but I feel good. But you feel like you have stuff to like improve on, and so those are the best kind of lessons when you don't have that sour taste of losing in your mouth, and but you're definitely not satisfied because you felt like you could have won by more. But it's so hard to win in this league, and this is a really good team, and they're coached really, really well, and so I'm not gonna take it for granted at all.
Thanks, James.
Last two, we'll go to James K and then Danny.
Hey, Coach, thanks for your time. I was wondering, has it been part of like an emphasis trying to get Emma to be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end? You talked a little bit in the first couple of games of the season, she was hesitating a little bit when she caught the ball from beyond the arc, and then now it just seems like it's second nature for her to catch and shoot and just be more aggressive. Has that been a point when you talked to her about previous games?
No, it was a point in the recruitment process. But Emma's such a visual person, and she wants to really fit in and find her spots, and that takes a while. to find your spots of where you can be aggressive, when you can be aggressive, and film study, and your teammates getting to know you, teammates getting to know you, and you getting to know them. And so because she's so intelligent and she has a high IQ, now it's probably easier for her 2 or 3 weeks in to know where she gets her spots or where she's going to get her shots. And it's just a lot of repetition. And now that I think that's what you see. You know, she knows where she can get 14 shots, or like the other night, she knows where she can get 16 shots. And without taking anything away from our, if you look at the globality of the game, you're going to see her, and it's like, okay, so she takes this, the usage rate looks the same because she's not taking bad shots, or she just wasn't taking the shots that she felt comfortable with because she didn't know the timing of it all. But now I think she feels comfortable, and now she's in a place where she's good.
Thanks, Coach.
Danny, did you have a question?
I was gonna ask the same question. All good.
Cool.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.